theme.
T1 got the edge in terms of synergy on the Vans over DRX.
Yeah.
And they go for the first pick Lucian.
And Lucian is married to Senna? I think there's synergy that's still still going.
Still following that. I'm honestly not a huge fan of the Lucian first pick. I kind of prefer the Emilio.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be picked here.
Yeah, you kind of just get matched. So it's going to be like Lucian Nami into Aphelios Milio. I really like the Aphelios Milio side of that. That being said, T1 are a pretty good team at applying pressure with that Lucian Nami. And the Orianna coming out for Faker.
Oh, God.
The Azir. Well, you know what? Can Azir's win rate...
Topside.
I think DRX kind of have to take Vi here. And then T1 probably go Rel. Would make sense. You know, Rel Orianna, really powerful combo. But I think if you leave Vi open, like, how is your Aphelios going to play the game when you're just going to get ulted and blown up? Like, the Vi ult combined with the Orianna ult is going to be pretty devastating.
I kind of like the Rel as well, just given the fact that there isn't a massive amount of range on the side of T1 just yet, but it does, like you say, leave up the Vi.
Yeah. You know, as much as I think Rel is obviously super strong, paired with Orianna, it's really devastating. I think Milio has an easier time peeling Rel because you can interrupt W with your Q, whereas Vi will just press R, and it's like, well, unlucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Zaya's thinking about the Aatrox and will lock that one in. Ona taking a little bit of extra time, figuring out what he wants to do, and then immediately locks in Vi. So never you mind.
Yeah.
One final pick as Rascal does have counter into the Aatrox and Yone being considered. That would be a gauntlet.
This feels like you could just go Cassante, but I feel like he's opting into the duel to the death.
Yeah, he saw that 10 solo kills, and he's like,
no.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sort of.
Jax is okay. A middle ground.
Yeah.
Pull out the middle ground. You know, if Yone's on one side, Cassante's on the other, Jax is somewhere in between.
Yep. Does like to do fighting, even though he doesn't have a real weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with this, and should still be a difficult time for Rascal there towards the top side of the map, but if they do manage to get a topside lead, then that is something that they can play through. Of course, Jax has been known to be able to take games under their control in the past, and you can also teamfight relatively effectively on the champion as well. So relatively well-rounded, not a massive amount of range, but they do have the Aphelios there, and if Calibrum is armed, Sponge can get around and really change that one up. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time to jump onto the Rift for game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
DRX fans, full voices here in Lowell Park today. T1, of course, tend to drown everyone else out. But still, you can see relatively even when it comes to the volume. That is great to hear. As Ona and Sponge, very close by, as we have a 5-point defense system. An oldie, but a goodie. Sponge actually going a little bit deeper.
Cheeky ward.
Yeah, like that, like that.
Get that information early.
Finds an Infernal Chain, cut the video, and Gumayushi taking a bit of damage here. Good fire kick, and actually Teddy going forward. A couple more autos and he's dead, and that's first blood for the bottom lane of DRX. That's not even silver lining. That is just great.
Yeah, fantastic. Teddy and Pleta winning out the 2v2, and this is one of the weaknesses of Lucian Nami in the early levels. You don't have the burst to 100 to 0.
Could have just been a dead Splitter. But didn't want to go too far, as of course Teddy was up and available. And Sponge going to be able to take one of these Void Grubs. Ona going to deal with the remaining 2 by the looks of things. Wants to push him out, but you can see Satap, he's going back, doesn't have teleport. Faker's still here. So that does mean that this is very dangerous for Sponge.
Yeah.
I will one grub apiece. Kevin, Steve, just both taken away. Bob just by himself.
The big thing with getting the first Void Grub is that... Oh,
okay. A minute. Rascal gets a flash out of Zayas here on this top side.
Oh, no.
And Owner is back again. That is going to be a secure. Very nicely done there by Sponge. Collects 2 of them. But yes, what's good about taking the first one? So Satab is... That's not the lane. That's the river. Faker is going to get shuffled, actually. Delivered to Sponge. Flash Ash to come through, but Sponge is immediately flashing after him. Faker could die as well. It's a decent shockwave, but it ain't going to save him. And Satab moves DRX to 2-0.
What a start, honestly. And they're able to find the 2v2. Faker just a bit overconfident there.
To this composition. And if T1 don't start that snowball rolling, things could become difficult. Rascal coming forward as Sponge is here again. Remember, no flash on Zayas. No Umbral Dash either, as there is the Magnet Storm. They didn't even want to invest it, as Leap Strike comes in and the flash has to be used, but Rascal is able to lock down the kill. That was almost a flub, but they nailed it in the end.
Yeah, so well played actually at the end. You know, Rascal goes in for the finishing blow, and Sponge just tanks the tower, makes sure he's the one with aggro. There's still a CS lead for Zeus in this matchup, but really nice gang coming out from Sponge. He's been doing a solid job so far.
Man, this wasn't on my bingo card. There's a lot of things that haven't been on my bingo card over the last couple of days. This is certainly one of them. As Owner is going to lock down the first.
And we see here Rascal just getting out of the tether distance in time to follow up here. Oh,
yep. Owner is going to go a bit aggressive onto Pleta, but Teddy might have been his target. Now Kerry is going to come on over. Teddy is in so much trouble. There he goes. Faker moving in as well. Flash out from Pleta. Faker moving real quickly thanks to the Aqua Prison. More like freedom here as T1 will be able to take down Teddy, the prime target here on DRX, and now move towards more plates. And I'm really glad that we got to have that moment where we were talking about DRX and doing some winning around the map. And I don't want to take anything away from DRX and their ability to find a few picks in this early stage. But they're going to need more than that if they want to actually win this, especially now that things have become a little bit more uphill. Sponge coming on over, though, and if they can lock down 5 grubs, that is certainly good news. Owner moving on in here, though.
Oh, no.
And Zeus in position at the same time. Cheeky little smite to deny the mites. And that is enough for T1. Just going to back away, allow 4 to go over to DRX.
Yep. I mean, the big thing is they deny the fifth, they deny the little void bub spawning.
Yep.
But also, the way it works, so as I was saying before, the jungle item gives bonus XP when you clear a camp, but you only get that on void bubs for the first one you kill. Jockeying for position over the river, trying to get control. Oh no, Satab.
Yeah, that's a shockwave, and that is an immediate cease and desist. Satab able to get out of there, though. Doesn't have teleport, and now doesn't have flash. So this Drake should go over to T1. He may not be able to get back in time, and definitely not back into position to try and fight for it. But DRX do have control of the bot side. Oh, Owner was thinking about it, but good work not being in the shot by Satab.
Yeah, we see T1 move bot just to answer the wave, and now kind of feel comfortable to set up for this dragon. Satab, they stalled out the recall. He's not going to be back in time, so likely just see DRX give this one up.
Yep. And so that is going to be 2 dragons. We'll see what soul it's going to be. If it's T1, it's often Clouds. They do have my back there. And Faker is on defense. That's a flash Magnet Storm. Teddy going to flash out of the way of the tidal wave. Faker should go down. They do secure the dragon. And the soul will be Hextech, actually. A lot of power if they are able to lock down the soul. As DRX, they do get the kill. T1 able to offer enough back to deter the aggression.
Yeah, Lock committed there, though, and Teddy and Pleta holding the... that is a scary Aphelios right now.
He is.
Gotta be really careful about that. TP actually coming in here from Zeus, going for the bot lane play.
They really don't want Teddy to do anything. Wow, that's a jump scare if ever I've seen one. But Teddy, not going to be too frightened, just able to walk his way out. That's a flash. Infernal Chains. Not sure about that one.
Not sold on that. And one of the things I was going to say was, like, the Dragon, DRX, only got that one kill. They committed the teleport to make it happen. But Zeus teleport there, not the best. It will secure them that bot lane tower, which is something, but it kind of feels like T1 were looking for a bit more out of that play and didn't really get rewarded with it.
Yeah, Sponge now wants to see whether his blue buff will come back. And Sponge is looking to put a stop to Zeus here, who doesn't have flash. Remember, Magnet Storm comes down, Emperor's Divide, and he's just going to be swept under the rug. Sponge will take a few too many turret shots, but he isn't going to die for it. And now Rascal is chasing after Faker. Shockwave comes in, but doesn't exactly do what he wants. Still slowed down by the dissonance. Rascal will be deterred as Faker gets into that pixel brush. And now, oh, Moonlight Vigil avoided. That was really cute. Pleta still diving in, and that is not really the direction he wants to go. Satab wanting to get over, isn't going to be able to. Good dive here by T1, keeping up that aggression as much as possible. But Rascal's coming in. This is fight after fight after fight here in this mid-game. Rascal not quite finding it. Sponge a little bit late to the party. So they're not able to punish T1 for the dive.
Yeah, some non-stop aggression there, and T1 managed to find the dive. It looked a little bit dicey at points, but the Culling doing a lot of work just to finish out Pleta.
Trying to get to a larger gold advantage. Right now it's really not even evident, as Sponge is going to park the Rift Herald, probably, into this turret. There we go. Look at that. Look at that driving.
We've seen definitely some flubs with the Herald driving.
Yeah, Lucid is taking notes right now, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
That's going to be on the test later. And you know, for anyone who's keeping count, so we said before the game started that Faker needed 9 kills
Yeah.
Get 3,000. So far, he has gotten 0 of those 9, so still 9 to go.
9 to go, yes. Good. I'm glad that we're keeping tabs.
Yeah.
No change. Sponge going to be able to take away a Raptor here. DRX immediately back away towards him. Yeah, Rascal is actually going to, like ships in the night. They do go past each other, but there is a flash counter-strike, and Owner, he's gone the wrong direction. Gravitum is going to be picked up by Teddy, and that means that there is no way out. Somehow, the kill goes to Pleta, but that is fine. There is no jungler. Teddy gets vision down, spots T1, and still standing his ground here. I don't know about it.
Damage.
Yeah, does have Pleta there in his back pocket. Gumayusi able to offer a lot back. So, without Smite, they do have Teleport, and T1 is still wanting to fight for this one. That's a flash over the Tidal Wave. Shockwave comes through, though, and that's a great double bubble. Zeus able to take down Satab here as the Dragon is still amongst it. It's a double kill for Zeus, who is just a wrecking ball. And they were a man down, but T1 is still making it work. Make that a triple. Oh, no. It's a catastrophe for DRX.
It's all fallen apart, and honestly, it felt like they tried to go for the engage, they tried to go for the turn, they couldn't quite connect onto the right targets, and this Aatrox just kind of slid into the back line and demolished DRX, and now T1 should be able to secure this Dragon. I think DRX need to rush straight, should be able to secure the Baron, and DRX need to rush to the Dragon. If they lose Baron and Dragon here, it's going to really be rough.
Yeah, and you can see Faker teleported to the bottom lane. He knows that this Baron is well and truly T1's. Now going to be able to take it down. Of course, it is on spawn, so it takes a while to kill it. Faker, not quite aware of what's going on here, will be able to put the ball in if he wants to, but gets the bad news. The Baron is going to be going down. Has to use his flash to avoid that Emperor's Divide. The Sand Soldier starting to get aggressive. There is still a turret here, and Faker has dissonance, so he should be able to get himself out, but
4 seconds.
Yep.
You know where they are.
Or 2 members of said team for 4 seconds, that's where they are.
Yeah.
Gonna now take down the Krugs and now move towards this inner turret. You can see the Baron power play. A modest 2.2k. T1 still wanted to augment that further with the remaining 30 or so seconds. Teddy does have an Infinity Edge now completed. So 3 items, theoretically pseudo 3 items. We include the Blood Song.
You know, and as much as T1 have gotten like a 4,000 gold lead here, which obviously isn't great, they haven't taken any tier 2 structures yet. They didn't get that 3rd Dragon, so DRX hold on okay.
Tidal Wave coming in here as Sponge does get knocked up. Great Shockwave onto Satab, who's trying to get himself out of there. Owner also using the ult relatively defensively. They take down the turret, but they're unable to kill any of the members of T1. Oh, man. Rascal in the mid lane should be able to get something back here as he secures a turret of his own. And now immediately teleports in to try and lock down this bottom lane. They get vision of Gumayusi Carrier trying to run away, and Teddy is looking to try and catch up. But Rascal now finds himself singled out. He has the Counter-Strike running, but now Owner is going to turn up. These Hex Gates really working out here as they change position kind of comedically. And Rascal looking to try and get himself out of there. He does so, but I don't know whether the teleport play really worked, and now he's backing on a ward.
We hit this point, and maybe it will be easier to win, hopefully.
Well, Satab is looking to hit this point, trying to find... well, he does set up a Sun Disc. He gets Acro Prison, though, as Carrier is a long way away from the rest of his teammates.
Yeah.
Can speed himself up, though.
Do you have a name for that, where you, like, shuffle behind someone and just put a turret down? I don't think that's been established yet.
I think that's the Shurima construction.
Yeah.
You had to look at the Shuriman times.
I think part of the problem is that they're structuring these buildings on sand, you know?
Yeah, I've heard of that issue before. Is okay, cease and desist onto Teddy into that backline. He flashes, he does manage to get the ult, but the Shockwave is too strong as Faker 8 kills to go now. Zeus able to take down a double in the backline as well. Sponge going to be taken away also, and DRX, they're left with only Rascal. And T1 are still chasing after them. It should be sole point here for T1. They might also be able to focus on some of these extra turrets to really start putting the nails in. Rascal also just going to get pulled back by those Infernal Chains, avoids the bubble. Not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe, and that is just 4 for free.
Yep, that was a pretty one-sided fight, and we're kind of seeing part of the issue with letting this Vi go open. Owner did this neat trick where what you do is you target the enemy AD carry.
Yeah.
And you press R.
Oh.
Very effective, very strong strategy.
That was what he did.
Yeah. Not too much you can do in response. Teddy really initially think.
Oh, the teleport from Faker as well for the shockwave position as Keria has to flash. Oh, bubble avoided there by Sponge, but now he's in trouble, taking a lot of damage from Gumayusi. That is a second one here for Faker. As Rascal is getting engaged on here. Zeus, every auto really hurting. Cyrilda's in his back pocket as well. And that is the global red buff secured by T1. Baron back on the table as well. There's a lot of control vision in this area for DRX, but without their jungler, I don't know what they're going to be able to do to try and contest this. Still wanting to, by the looks of things, is Teddy, red-white guns, ready to fight. Teddy. But, oh, dearie me, he is just going to die. Exhaust was able to be pressed onto Gumayusi there, but he's still able to kill Teddy. So without jungler or AD carry.
Rascal?
Rascal going for it. Gumayusi is somewhat low. The Baron is also somewhat low.
I feel like Rascal is kind of just doing his own thing this entire game.
He's out of there, though. Look at him. He's buying time. Teleporting. Bubble. Dead. It was a cute play. It was a cute plan. Gumayusi able to dash himself out of the way. Good shockwave here from Faker as Sponge crashes down on top of him. But Faker's got the arm guard, and he'll keep himself alive. The fire kick, not really something you're too scared about. And now Zeus is underneath turrets, not too worried about much at all. Wants to find a third Q. There it is. And Pleta is just wondering where the heck damage is. He wants to go back to being an AD carry, I think. But Umbral dash over the base gate. And Zeus is out of there. And now T1 are just going to rain hell down on the rest of DRX. Pleta is...
Leave him alone!
Oh, it's so cruel, isn't it? That's another kill. There's the ace, and T1 will now just destroy these Nexus turrets and take us to a game number 2. But one thing I do want to take away from this is the fact that DRX looked relatively competitive in the early stages until they absolutely did.
I'm afraid of the Corki simply because as a team, they're definitely confident at driving the pace forward, you know? I think teams who go at a slower pace, or if it's an equal match, Corki can be really problematic. But I think T1 are confident they can just push the game pace forwards and not worry about Corki hitting that major scaling point. They are going to pick up the center themselves.
We'll give them a fair bit of sustain. You can play Senna Seraphine and sort of hope to sustain, but you're not going to do that against 3-item Corki if Satab actually gets to that point. And this is what you were talking about. Just go for the engage.
Yep.
Ona going to be locking away the Nico, most likely for Faker. Of course, Faker, one of our premier Nico players, even before she was reworked and got a bunch better. He was our best Nico here in the LCK.
So typically how you see the draft pan out from here is the Corki kind of warps the whole draft and everything becomes about him. So T1 start to go for dive threats that can try and get on the Corki, and then DRX are like, okay, we need anti-dive.
Yeah.
They go for the Xayah, they're like, okay, Xayah can survive well against the Nico. We're going to pick up the Rakan as well, which is a solid peel champion, good lane with the Xayah. And then T1, I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up like the Nocturne or something along those lines. But there's still a lot of junglers available, so I don't feel like there's a heavy obligation to go for it. They could just look to secure that bot lane duo and pair up with the Senna.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Or just get a solid top lane pick there as well, and if you can get in amongst it, eliminating that part of the dive threat.
Yeah, Nocturne Nico is super strong. I think in this situation, I feel like Vi makes a lot of sense for T1 here, but they could hold off on their jungle.
Jarvan also could work theoretically.
Yeah, I think Jarvan pretty good into Xayah, not as good into Corki though.
What about Briar?
Yeah, I think you just go for the Vi. I'm going to be honest. And in terms of, you know, obviously Vi isn't... Oh, actually not going to go for it all. Going to go for the Viego.
That's a Viego.
Viego, yeah, halfway there.
Yeah. It's Vi with some extra steps.
But they clearly want strong skirmishing power early, not leading into the tank junglers. So DRX, you already have a pretty weak mid laner who's going to need some time to get going. You need to be able to match up to Ona in the jungle if you're going to have a hope here. I like the K'Sante, especially into the Aatrox. You saw how much threat he was on the flank. The Aatrox can kind of just say, the K'Sante can kind of say no to the Aatrox and just drag him away into a dark corner and beat him up.
That is the hope. That is what DRX are going to go for here as Sponge's pick. That's what we're looking for. What is it going to be is the question. You mentioned something to deal with the Viego. Rel, also just something that Sponge is happy to play. Does help with their team fight at the same time. And Rel Rakan is something that we have seen work to pretty great effect in the past as well. So a well-rounded composition here from DRX. And you might look at it and be like, oh, but Xayah doesn't have a whole lot of range. They have Corki, so who cares?
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of the threats from T1 are going to be coming into you. I do think the Rel might feel a bit difficult to play, you know. playing Peel as well is definitely possible, but a bit trickier than it is just playing that straight engage role we often see, but I think it's fine. I feel like game 1 and game...
Oh, I love it.
DRX have really been okay, but you know, we know that the Corki's going to be a problem later in the game. Now you have this super scaling bot lane off the Ornn and the Senna. And realistically, I don't see a Zaev or Khan providing that much threat to them.
And the Senna Ornn is something that we saw Deft and Barrel play already, but what I wanted was the sneaky swap. Because Zeus' Ornn is so good, and he could just play tank v tank there towards the top side of the map and still do a good job, and then play Senna Aatrox in the bottom lane.
I'm not sold.
Not sold?
Not sold.
Yeah.
I don't think Aatrox will have too much fun.
So, an opportunity here for Satab to strut his stuff on the Rift with the big Corki. Let's get into game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are onto the Rift for the second game of our first series of the day. DRX moving towards the blue side now with the Corki composition.
Yep.
A composition that T1 have destroyed in the past. In fact, the final day that both of these teams played last week was exactly the day that it happened.
I feel like a big thing with Corki comps is it all becomes about the dragons. Just because once you start getting the package, you start syncing it up. If T1 can get the early dragons, it kind of slows down the soul stacking. It means you can opt out if there's not a good setup. If someone eats, you know, a big one, takes a bit of poke. But something that I think is a really effective strategy against Corki teams is being able to start up a Baron.
So maybe that was just enough to move him out of the way. His grand entrance once again. No flash here from Carrier. It could be another first blood for DRX as he's burning. The flash comes through and Carrier walks it off. Oh, it's so close here for DRX on the bottom side. And Carrier has teleport. He can just be straight back here. So this is what the space was kind of talking about, and that is that naturally T1 are just doing a lot more winning. As Satab, that's an aggressive move. Letter is here though, looks for the knockup, does get it there onto Faker. Just on the edge, in fact. So nicely done, able to trade back nicely. But you can see Satab just teleporting back, now doesn't have a bunch of his health. And Faker in a similar boat, to be perfectly honest, but Satab with just the tier stacking up. In comparison to the two books, Faker is well read. He is known for his reading of books, but he is going to be able to do so in lane as well. And oh man, catches him right on the end as Satab going aggressive. Faker, oh, just flashes, picks that one up. I believe that was the empowered auto there as well. And so Faker, first blood, solo kill.
Just from Satab, I think kind of overestimating his damage. Bear in mind, he had just a tier compared to the two Amptomes. I think he was hoping for just a little bit more in that trade to try and turn it around. Very aggressive play from both sides, but Faker ends up coming out ahead and adds one more to that kill tally.
Only 6 to go before 3,000. Just such a huge milestone. Not sure when we're ever going to see another player make it to it. Would like to have sort of the list of players and the numbers that they're up to, because I imagine everyone's pretty far away from where Faker's at, just given the longevity and the fact that Death took some time in the LPL.
Yep.
As another one. Faker just finding these tangle barbs over and over again.
I think as well, there's a lot of supports who have a ton of games, but obviously supports aren't really getting kills.
No.
So definitely role dependent.
And so Gumayusi Carrier, they're also ahead. They'll have more money as well, definitely, because Teddy does not have a World Atlas. And Fleta going to go aggressive. There is still the Corki, right? The Corki factor exists. But the problem is that he just may not get to the Eclipse, Malignance, Muramana situation, as Gumayusi does have to use the flash. There's a Featherstorm as Carrier trying to get himself out of the way, calls the Ram, and they still manage to get the knock-up. Ona finds the stun, max range. Dawning Shadow flies forward as well, and Ona, he helps them pick up their second kill of the game and continues to go aggressive here, moving into the enemy jungle. As far as kills, and this time around, it is T1. They still have the massive CS advantages and just general global advantages around the map. And Blue Moon Burst not going to hit Satab too many more times. Level 8 now, so does have his rockets available.
And this is one of these situations where Satab has gone the Hex Drinker, which I think is the objective right decision when you're having this much trouble in the lane matchup. But it's just going to delay your spike. it's just going to stall out the point at which this Corki becomes strong, which is always a rough feeling, because I feel like DRX are really banking on that level 16 Corki with 3 items.
Yeah.
Oh my. It's huge, because the Dragon's just going to go down before he gets back.
Yep.
Bear in mind, he has no TP. He just has to fly back over.
And Sponge, he's here, and he knows what's going on, and he knows that there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. See what the soul is going to be, as this one cloud is going to be taken down in 2 games in a row. And then he's spotted on a ward.
But, like, what is the point of taking package now?
Well, so that you can get out of this. Nailed it. Sponge going to look for a bit of a shattering strike here. T1 are going to be able to push them away. So, okay, Featherstorm going to be used. Pop Blossom comes down, and that is a dead rel. Nicely picked up there, and Faker grabs yet another one. Good grand entrance, though, as there is the Heartbreaker flash to get Owner out of there. He should be all right, as Carrier takes another turret shot as well. Ooh, Faker taking a lot of damage underneath this turret as well, but should mean that T1 can escape, and it's just Sponge that does go down.
5,000 now, the gold lead. You can see 1,000 gold extra picked up from the plates from T1, making a massive difference.
Yeah, just kind of ridiculous.
But I just feel like the most frustrating thing is that DRX still have a game plan, which is play for package around dragons and try and make that a thing, but you've just desynced it. So now either you skip next dragon and wait for the following one to have package, or if you just keep picking it up off cooldown, it's never going to be synced again.
Nope. I also just don't really like the whole situation at all, but maybe desperation here from Satab wanting to try and win some sort of skirmish. But T1, they managed to win that, and now they're pushing even further. This inner turret, man, that would be pretty backbreaking as far as an advantage. And Carrier is also just using his hammer on this inner turret in the bottom lane, and there's no one there to answer.
Yeah, he's actually probably just going to get that with some support from his AD carry.
Yep. Gumushi should, like, a couple of autos. Oh, just one and a Q.
Yeah, this is not going well.
I'm going to put it in the cons column, absolutely, when it comes to DRX early games.
Okay, now they're going top.
Yeah, Ona is going to be able to get Satab here. Does use the flash, but there's the stun. And is he able to do anything? The answer is no, and he also gives the assist over towards Gumushi as well.
Then you got to think that Satab could have gotten away, but everything connects. They get it, and now a free dragon. No package to worry about here.
And look at these money differences. They are very, 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 very large. Obscenely large. I'm really glad that it was only up for a little while, because that was...
You know what's the biggest thing for me?
What's
is that Teddy is 100 CS up on Gumushi, and you know, considering how much they lost to get the Herald, like they lost bot tier 2,
and mid tier 2.
Yeah, they don't even get bot tier 1. I'm going to go with not worth.
I'm going to say not worth. They're also then here for Owner to rotate down. The rest of the team also coming in. There's a Magna Storm from Sponge as we have a look towards the top side. Fleta finds the quickness. They're looking to lock down Carrier, but...
Does he take damage?
No, not really. He's just trying to turn it around, gets a Featherstorm, and continues walking at them menacingly. Look at him. Just trudging down the rift, breaking his own things, and just not really worried about anything at all. Brittle, not going to be proc there onto Sponge. But he also just takes way too much damage as Faker is going to look to support. And now Zeus wanting to find Satab, and he'll find him. And that is a real scary one. Flash does come out, but I don't know whether Satab can escape this. Where's the Valkyrie?
7 seconds.
Yeah, he's really dead.
I don't think you get that long.
And look at the scratch of the head on the player cams there as well. You can see Satab not really happy about how this game is going whatsoever. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't Zeka's fault. Maybe it was. Maybe it's just T1 are too good at dealing with Corki comps. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, I think the chances of Sponge stealing this pretty
limited.
low.
Yeah, limited.
Those procs, though, maybe no, he doesn't even get those.
All right. Well, the Ram comes down. They do manage to catch Fleta here as Ono looks for a little bit more CC. Heartbreaker comes down. Rascal going to be the next target here as Teddy takes the base gate. Yep, Faker is after him. There's a Pop Blossom. Teddy able to avoid that, and that will be able to keep him safe. But he needed Ghost and he needed Flash in order to get out of it. Didn't have Featherstorm, but would have needed that as well. Yeah, could have pressed that button. Fleta still running for his life. Sponge doing the same thing. And yeah, this is a difficult game here for DRX. at this point in time. Pletter is going to die, and there's going to be a kill going over to Owner. Now Rascal fighting alongside Satab against Zeus. 2 versus 1. I'm almost favoring the 1 here, but it is going to be Rascal picking it up in the end, as Carrier turns up just a little bit late, and Faker is a little bit distracted by winning the game by the looks of things. Still needs a few more kills like Faker.
He's been hunting for them. You've seen him trying.
Yeah. But you don't win the game, then you definitely can't get the kills.
Yeah. There are more important things at stake right now.
No, precisely. As Rascal going to turn it here. Carrier going to flash on over, and yeah. Gumushi turns up. He's going to protect his better half. And now you can see Carrier just going to go back home. Satab may just die here, as yeah, that's a bunch of buttons in his face. And Gumushi locks down a solo.
Yep. I think it's kind of how 12,000 is the goal, and 3 dragons would have been a Hextech soul.
Yeah, this is like a vacuum lining, or a void lining, abyssal lining.
I think
there's no lining that's good.
I think vacuum lining. I think
you're okay with that.
I think that's how I would describe it.
Yeah,
that's what I'd go for.
It's not great. Carrier is split pushing.
The thing is, no one's even nearby.
No one's here. Where is everyone?
Where is DRX?
Well, they're not mid. That's dead.
Well, there's one of them.
Yeah, there we go. So Rascal is going to find Carrier, and Carrier is going to ignore him. I'm pretty sure Rascal pressed a button, but I'm not entirely sure. Pop Blossom going to be channeled here as Sponge is going to dive on into it, looks for a last-ditch attempt as Faker goes golden. He picks up another kill here. That's his 3rd for the game, but he will end up going down. Good package there from Satab, but now he's on the wrong side of this one. Knockup is going to come through onto Zeus. Blade Caller is good, and Zeus will be taken down. But now the Cavalry will turn up. There's another Corki. That's a decent way of dealing with it, I guess. But he's going to take a lot of damage. Teddy on the fountain is kind of looking like his old self as that fountain laser. But still, these Nexus turrets are going to be turned to. Carrier looks for the dive forward. Good Feather Storm there from Teddy to avoid him. But now the Nexus will be taken down, and T1 going to look for that swift 2-0. They will find it. Carrier will die. T1 will get the job done in the end. Decent little dash there from Owner, and he keeps himself alive at the last second. So